recorded. You probably heard it right now. So after we will share with everyone. So for those that are attending, you can let your friends know and tell them that it was fantastic because we have here today 2 fantastic speakers, and I'm sure that it will be good. So thanks everyone. Just to start, if you could just say yes or no in the chat. Is it the first time that you're attending Data Plus Women? Yes or no? Just this way we know if you're new or if you're, yes, 1 yes, more yeses. We have more people that are new to the, oh, a lot of yes. Good, so welcome everyone that is here for the first time. For those that are for the second time, welcome back. And we are today with our summer special. So we're doing our amazing happy hour. We got a nice time in the end of the working times in the afternoon of a Friday. I hope that you're all good and not working anymore, fully concentrated in the meeting. And to do the intro of the group and what Data Plus Women is, I will bring Anne-Marie, that is the co-lead. She organized Data Plus Women together with me. And I forgot, by the way, to say my name. I'm Rachel. Sorry, I always forget to say my name for some reason when I'm doing introductions. I introduce the other people, but not me. So welcome, everyone. My name is Rachel, and Marie's with you now.
Hey, good afternoon. Well, thank you. And of course, you're Rachel, and you were one of the leaders of the Data Plus Women Netherlands. And my name is Marise, and I always tend to forget it. So just in case, Marise. And not here today, but also with us are Aline, Leonard. She's a colleague of mine in the Information Lab. And then we have Emma, and Pavan and Gabi. And yeah, so check out our socials if you want to know more about us. And we will post as well on the Data Plus Women channels as well. So yeah, just want to say hi to you, and then we could go to the next slide. Thank you. So if you are not already following us, you can follow us on Twitter @women_data, and you can look to our user group tableau.com/amsterdamdata.women. And we also have a meetup group, and we try to host our events quarterly, depending on how many speakers we want to share. So we do it all together. So without beautiful speakers like today, this cannot happen, and without people attending as well. So it's actually really co-creating. So if you have a great idea or you want to see a topic covered, contact us, and then we will create the idea together. Like today is created, and I'm really looking forward to it. I won't say too much because Rachel is going to tell all about the content, but super looking forward to it. And yeah, please follow us if you don't do that already. And then we can go to the agenda of today. So the welcome, well, welcome. If anything is unclear, or if you have questions or you want to ask something, you can tell them, you can ask them in the chat. And then after this, Rachel will introduce our speakers as well. And we will start with our Data Can Be Beautiful event. I'm really looking forward to this. And then at the end, we have a little wrap up where you can ask your questions. Yeah, and then of course we would like to see each other in face to face, but until now we're super grateful that you're here. So let's do some housekeeping rules, and then I think we're off to start. So if you select the gallery view in Zoom, then you can see everyone and not just the speaker or the person who is selected. And if you have a question indeed, you can ask them, and the best way is to do it in the QA. Yeah, interact with each other, and if you want to share on our social, you can use the hashtag Data Plus Women. And don't forget to drink, because it's at least here it's really warm today. So stay hydrated and enjoy today.
Thank you, Maurice. And well, we had the housekeeping and everything. And now, of course, let's go to our speakers of the day and what we'll be doing here. So for today, we have Tiziana and Sonja. Both of them work in this area where you have design and data all together. And as both of them have kind of a brilliant and super beautiful work that are related to visualizing data, we decided to put the name of our event today. Data can be beautiful, of course. It doesn't need to be boring. It doesn't need to be strange. It can be absolutely beautiful. So if you don't know the work of them, Tiziana, she has an amazing magazine. It's called Market Cafe Magazine that I hope that you show to us at some point today. See. And Sonja, please, she has also amazing work that you can all see in the Studio TERP that is online and on Twitter, and she's super active. And for everyone that is following, what we will be doing today is we're organizing the event in a kind of round table. So we'll have questions to them. And if you would like to send your questions, if you'd like to ask questions to them during the presentation, please feel free. I will now stop sharing here because this way we can see the speakers. And we will have there is, if you look at the bottom of your Zoom, there is a question and answer part. So feel free to send the questions there. I will be checking, and then I can mix and match the questions that I have prepared with the ones from you. So to start, of course, I think that it would be nice for those that are not familiar yet to our speakers to understand a little bit about the work that they do and how they started to work in database. So starting by Sonja, if you could talk a little bit about how you ended up here in database and well, if you could give some clues to people, for instance, do you have a font that you never use because you find it just awful? Or you're this type of person that accepts all fonts in the world and you think that even ugly fonts can be beautiful? You're still on mute. Is you on mute? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yes.
Now, yes. Yeah.
Sorry. The heat. I'm just gonna
now it's working.
Hi everyone, I'm Sonja Kuijpers, very Dutch name. I am the one and only employee of Studio TERP. That's the studio I'm working under, and I'm started off creating data viz in I guess 2013. I'm just put up some slides with some work of my career, and maybe you're already recognizing some. And I'm always wondering myself if I have a specific style, because yeah, like you can see, I'm going all places with shapes and colors and subjects. So if someone has an idea how to describe my style, you're welcome. What I do like, what I found out that I do like creating is not just the static bar graphs or line graphs and such. I really like working with that also, but I'm more going into the illustration part, I guess, because I really like the combination of the straightforwardness and then, yeah, creating an atmosphere with colors and shapes and such things. So I describe my work as exploratory, and yeah, always on the search for new ways of showing data. And the one project that got me a lot of attention and praise, I'm still not believing that after that time, but this is a project that I created. Like I do a lot of my own projects out of frustration and looking for what things I feel very strong about. And this was in a period that I was very, yeah, well, I was really depressed, and I was really down, and I was just on the verge of thinking, well, my life doesn't matter anymore. I was thinking on committing suicide, and some things came together because then um, I was searching to do something with my life, and yeah, well, data is something that I get very passionate about, and I found this data about suicides in the Netherlands in 2017, and uh, people seeing this project, they go scroll through this landscape, not even realizing what they're looking at, and then they come to the explanation and they see what these all these elements mean. So all these elements stood for one person. So one tree is one person, and then I also categorize them in different ages, because that what was the data telling me. So there's this part where the women are presented and this part where the men are presented, and then I categorized them differently. So yeah, what I also do is not just post my projects, like here is a new project on Instagram, but I also do these things with in between, and failures and just hiccups of my computer, or I forgot to shift a layer that's really important. So you get all these strange, yeah, I like this arty stuff that comes out of it. So not just my project, but also these strange results on my personal interest, and that is photography of mushrooms and slime molds, because I think nature is one of the greatest sources for inspiration on colors and shapes and yeah, well, structures, textures. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to tell you about a bit. And on my self-entering data viz, this is what I created in 2014, 15, because it's 2014 data. It's at the end of the year that it's available. I got here because I went to this infographics conference here in the Netherlands. I didn't get here on purpose. I got here, yeah, well, accidentally. I got sacked from my job as a landscape architect. And that is when I had to find something new, because all the economics was really bad in the landscaping, in landscaping and architecture. So, and then I just thought, well, this is very, very great, this data viz and information graphics thing. So I started creating this, and it went very, yeah, a bit viral for a beginner, I guess. And I was so, yeah, I thought this is something I want to do more. So I participated in the Monday Makeover. Do you say Makeover Monday? I keep forgetting.
Exactly.
And that's the bottom two ones. And I do stuff for myself, just trying out shapes and forms and with data that I don't even know what to do with. And I just create these small projects. And it's a very great way to just, there's no pressure, there's no expectations. You can do whatever you want. And I really like that way of trying out things for yourself. There's supposed to be a picture here. And my favorite color, because you asked, it's gray. I know it's not an actual color because it's a mixture of white and black, but I like the way it can express so many things. And for most of it, it's the very best background for data viz, in my opinion. Shall I continue with my landscaping? I'm just going quick over this.
There was a question though.
Yeah.
What type of tools do you use and recommend? Or is there a special tool or just something you use?
I mainly create, I just create static data viz. So it's for exploration, I use Excel and raw.io, the raw graphs IO, just to explore what outliers there are, or what the if there's a story in the data, and then I export this graphs from Excel or the SVGs from raw graphs. I export them to Illustrator. So Illustrator is my main.
Okay, interesting. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt, but I
no. It's okay.
Yeah.
So exiting landscape design, because there's no really like this hard order, except for getting sacked. But I found out I was doing sort of data viz already at the Design Academy here in Eindhoven. I studied man and public space, as they called it back then. And we had to create these maps of the Netherlands. Well, I'm not quite sure yet, what the exact thing was we had to create, but I did this. And I will show you what I actually did, because these are all statistical information about the Netherlands. And I created these, do you see it well? These carton plates with and I perforated them with the holes, and so all different statistical data, and you can put them on top of each other, and then you see when there's causation or correlation between the two different sets. So that is my thing with data on the Academy, and this is what I did in landscape design. So maybe you can already see that there's this overlap between what I'm doing now and what I did back then, because we had to do analysis, draw what was already in the landscape, and figure out what layers to keep and what had to be redesigned, or skip the whole landscape and do something again. And well, I drew a lot of trees back then, loads and loads of trees. And I worked in Photoshop and Illustrator, so I already know how to use the tools. So yeah, that was a bit of a story myself.
Good, and thanks for the quick story. And well, it's quite interesting, because it's how data appeared in your life, and how, in a sense, it kind of created space, and you ended up now using it basically as your raw material in a lot of projects, right? And for Tiziana, how did it happen to you? Because you're also nowadays quite into data. How did you end up here in the data? And for you, instead of asking about the font, I will ask about blank space, because I know that especially you have a magazine, a printed one, and blank spaces when you print something, they're so beautiful and important. And a lot of people, they ask you, oh, but can't you just put a bit more of text? So how was the last time that you explained it to someone that, no, we need to keep some space, we can't just put words everywhere? So for you now, Tiziana, a bit about how you ended up here, and your dilemmas when you're working with design.
So first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to have some time to speak with you. And just a quickly introduction about how I came up into the data visualization industry. So It started around 2009, and I have a background in industrial design actually, so it's nothing to do with data visualization. But in 2009, I was writing in a graphic design forum online, and someone said that there is a very interesting course, university course in Milan. You should check it out. And then ended up doing a master in a communication design at Polytechnic of Milan, which was solely focused on data visualization. And it wasn't so popular back then. So now it's almost 10 years and I'm doing data visualization and I work in this industry. I moved to London as soon as I graduated, 7 days after my graduation. I moved to London and I started to work for a studio which was called Information is Beautiful. Now it's Beyond Words Studios, and I work with them for 4 years. Then I went freelance. So since 3 years now, I've been working independently as an information designer, and I make data visualization across all platforms, so both static and interactive. And I work pretty much with every industry and all the brands, all the type of agencies. And if I can share my screen, I can show you some of the works that I've done. I don't have a presentation, but we can start from my Instagram page because it's a good collection of the most visual works, and not of I would say that this is the 20% of the work that I do, very colorful and with a lot of details. And you can also see some of other works on my website. But the 80% of the work that I do, it's based on teaching and consultancy. And I do consultancy for startups or big brands or fintech companies. And of course, all the work that I do for them, it's under strictly NDA. So every time I cannot share anything. But if you want to have a look to my website, you can see some of the most nice work. Just recently, I started a collaboration, which I'm really proud of. But maybe I will talk about this later. And you mentioned the question. So your question was about Blank Space, and you mentioned the magazine, and which is this one, which is also has a website. It's called Market Cafe Mag, and has been founded in 2017 by myself and Piero Zagami. We used to work together in the same studio, and today this magazine is the world's first magazine entirely dedicated to data visualization. We won the Qatar Information is Beautiful Award in 2019, and we are really proud of this magazine because it's only made by the two of us, and we take care of everything from scouting the people, design the magazine, and each page it's manually designed by us, and we take care of changing the colors of all the images, then the distribution and so on. And so far we've published 6 issues, and we're currently working on number 7, which everything is going to be super secret till the end, so till the launch. And Sonja was actually interviewed by us in issue 5, which was focused on data activism, because every issue has a different topic. So blank space is very important, and but it's something that sometimes we don't have the luxury of leaving too much empty space on our magazine, because we have a lot of amazing content from the contributors that we interview and a limited amount of pages. And printing is expensive. And our magazine is completely self-funded and without any type of advertising. So we really try to use every centimeter that we have available of paper to honor the work of the people that we interview. So we try to do our best, and we keep design and readability at the top. But we also want to really showcase as much as we can of the work that people do and their words as well. So this was for answering your question, and yeah, that's it pretty much.
And for both of you, and I think that can start with Tiziana and then go to Sonja, but because both of you have a bit of this mixed experience of creating things that are in digital and things that are in material Thanks. So Sonja showed the maps. You have the magazine where you are actually printing, so there is no interaction. It's a totally different type of experience. How is it to work with the data visualization in such different such different ways? Because in digital you have this thing that okay, you can have interaction and everything else. When you print, definitely you don't have this, but then you have other things also that you don't have necessarily in the digital space. Like for instance, you can gain space. You can, for instance, have a full wall with the data visualization or something like this. So, and for you both, and based on the type of work that you do, which are the main difference and maybe the challenge and the good stuff related to each one of the types of support that you have for doing data viz?
So technically, so from a technical point of view, there are obviously some differences between designing a data visualization for a printed newspaper, for example, or for a website, or for an internal dashboard or a mobile app. Completely different technical challenges. But at the end of the day, the goal is always the same: so tell a story and communicate facts in a way that it's clear and driven by data. The thing that changed, and I think the only thing that makes the biggest difference is always the audience. And most of the time, the audience define the medium. And hence the visualization change style and approach. So, for example, I collaborated with an Italian newspaper, and I was producing these very complicated, intricate visualization printed on a double spread of huge newspaper, which was meant to be embedded, featured on the Sunday cultural supplement of this newspaper. So people are gonna maybe read this and digest this information across a couple of days, even or having breakfast. So they have a lot of time to read all the fine details and appreciate every single detail, which people that use data visualization or need data visualization for having a quick insight about how the business is going or how a specific application is going. They have to digest and understand the information probably in a couple of seconds sometimes. So in that case, the process, actually not the process is never different, but the outcome is completely different because it's all shaped around the final user. And of course, with the story that you're going to tell. But the thing that I always say every time, especially when I teach, it's focus on your audience and think about your audience.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But I also, can I add something? Yeah, because it's also sometimes you have to take your client by the hand because they want a data visualization and they're like, yeah, we want it on our website, but also in print. And then you have to try, because with big companies, you get the researchers or other people as your contact person, and they don't know how these things work. So you have to take them by the hand and explain what you need from them to make the thing work, because they don't know what paper can do with color or what text sizes you need to bring in. So I always ask for immediately for the corporate styling, and I have this questionnaire up in front for the client to ask them about these things, because I want to up front, I want to know what they're expecting of me, and if they do not know for themselves, I ask for the contact, the ones in the end who have to make these prints or create the website. You have to stay in contact with the actual creators. So yeah.
And for you both, and considering everything that you have ever done, do you have favorite projects that you worked in, or is it too difficult? So now you showed a bit the one in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is your favorite one, or if it's the one that you're more connected to. Do you have one that you consider like your baby?
Yeah, well, no, not my baby. My babies are my own projects, but I had this great experience with this client, and it was the graphics editor of the Frankfurter Zeitung, who contacted me, and he had a request if I could be the designer of this special in the feuilleton, it's called there, and about Wagner, the componist, and the Bayreuther Festspiele. I didn't know anything about I don't know a thing about operas and Wagner, but I learned quickly. And he asked me if I could do 3 pages, and I was like, wow, three pages full of data viz. I'm going to share my screen now because I had it on my okay view. So on the left, you see the front page, and then there's another page. And I got asked to do, I don't know what's the count, I think 12 different visits about Wagner himself and about the Festspiele, the family tree, about when this Spiele took place. It's a timeline on the bottom left. And some data viz on the operas themselves. So yeah, I thought this was a brilliant project because I got to pick what I like to create, and I chose circles for one, and then I did this for all visits. And what was also very spectacular was that they combined my visits with these cartoons. So there was this cartoonist who drew these plays, and they showed me up front what he was doing, and then I picked the colors from his cartoons. So they kind of, yeah, they fit together.
The chat is getting crazy with your viz, Sonja. Is it available on your?
I'm just looking at my
website?
full screen now.
Yeah, everyone
later.
is saying that it's super beautiful. Is it possible? Is it in your website? Because then we can just share with everyone and they can.
Yeah, it's in my website,
later.
and I also did a blog post on how I went through this project. So there's a larger explanation if people want to know what I actually did, because this is one of the things that I got from them for one of the visualizations, because most of them was actually data. It says what time, like the timeline was actually data, and the family tree was actually data. So, but I also had these just texts, and they asked me to visualize this, and I was like, where's the data? And there's no numbers. This was just a screenplay, and about this fight. There was a fight in one of the parts of the opera, and they asked me to translate this. And so I just coded the text myself, what they were singing, and who was singing, and who was hitting who in this fight. And I tried to come up with a gesture that said hitting. And well, I tried this out, but then I thought it's too messy, and I did this over. So I found this symbol on the persons in the play. It's all in German, of course. The ones that took part in this fight, and who hit who, and the wives were also involved. They didn't hit, but they threw water on the fighters. And this is what it eventually looked like. So it's sort of a, how do you say that? It's a screenplay. It's a storyboard, I guess, depicting all the steps in this fight. So yeah, it was difficult, but it was also very fun because they just accepted this this way of visualizing. So I was very glad with this project. I got this really big amount of freedom to just do what I want. And like I said, 3 pages. Who doesn't want 3 pages of their work published? And I also heard, because it was presented at the Bayreuther Festspiele itself, and I heard that even Merkel, the German president, got this issue in her hands. So yeah, proud. Oh,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the truth. Who don't like it's freedom, 3 pages, and the result is kind of super beautiful. And for everyone following, we put the link. Maurice put the link. So if you'd like to see, there is the full visualization on Sonja's website with some explanation also. And for Tiziana, what do you have your fav vis of your career?
I do. First of all, Sonja, that was amazing. I never seen that one, but it's stunning. Oh no, you're on mute.
Yeah, I sent this one in for the for the information graphics as well, but I didn't win that one.
That was fantastic. So
Thank you.
favorite work. I have to say that my favorite is a collaboration that I started in 2019, and it's something that it's a little bit. I like this work because it's a little bit different from the normal work that I usually do, and it's a collaboration that I started with an independent music label based in Berlin, and they produce music of different DJs. So we're talking about techno music. And we had a long conversation on how we could make these songs, these tracks visual. So we came up with a design, and actually with a data visualization of the songs, which translated it into something like that. So this is the first album cover that I've done in it was October 2019, and trust me, this is a real thing. I don't have a vinyl player at home, but this is a real thing. And we made different releases. So we had now made 3 printed releases. And these are all data visualization of some of this one song each of each album. And this was the latest print one that we did. And other releases are digital. For example, I'm going to show the latest that we've done, which is this one. And this is an interesting one because the project started as a one vinyl, one disc, one record with featuring songs of 4 DJs. Then we decided to split the thing. So we had 4 different releases. So basically each DJ had its own record cover. But the idea was, I liked it to then find a way to merge them back together. So here you can see, and this was a digital release, it's not be printed, unfortunately, but maybe in the future, who knows. So each DJ had its own track visualized, using different colors and different styles, and I found it a way to dedicate to them one quadrant, because the idea was to then merge them back together in this way. So I don't know if you can see, because it's not a great color contrast, but they merge together in a kind of Frankenstein record cover. And today, this is one of my favorite projects. I've just sent, just not publicly, but just sent to the client, the latest one, and I have 3 others to do. Yeah, I love it because I have total creative freedom, and also I'm learning a lot because I had no idea how to actually convert a song into something visual. So I'm learning a lot. So it's steep learning curve, but it's so nice to have the chance to work on something that it's very very innovative from this point of view, and also try new tools and learn again. So it's very a nice exercise.
Perfect. And it's quite beautiful also, and unusual, right? Because we don't see, well, we don't have album covers anymore, unfortunately, in a way, and especially bringing database into an album cover. It's something that we don't see every day, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's super innovative.
And I also done one of those releases, which for the moment is digital, but I guess later in the year will be produced. It's for a tape, a cassette tape. So it's just such an Amarcord thing. Yeah.
That's interesting also.
I know.
Like it. And for both of you, because there is here people are kind of super praising the work of you both, and you showed your kind of favorite projects. And I think that one thing that everyone probably is wondering, especially because I guess that everyone in the meeting is somehow related to the database, or you're doing database or at work or in their free time, I don't know. But I think that it would be nice to talk a little bit about process, because especially you, for instance, in the case of an album cover, it's a totally different type of visualization than one that you would do for a customer that would like something more business related and digital. So how do you we both do in terms of process? Because I think that you have a lot of things to think, a lot of things that will change, but in a sense there are things that I'm assuming that would be a bit constant in every project that you're doing that involves data as the starting point. So yeah, I think that Sonja, if you'd like to start by talking a little bit about how do you do the process, and then after you go to Tiziana, how is it? Is there something that you can identify, like for instance, common points that you have when you are starting, when your starting point is data, when you're working with data?
Yeah, I was thinking on that question, process. Like I mentioned earlier, when someone approaches me with a request, I put up this questionnaire because yeah, well, the way they approach you often is like, we have data and we would like a database. And I'm like, yeah, well, I need more than just that question. I need the amount of data. I need the subject. I need the information behind the data, because it's often subjects where I don't know shit about. So I need all that. And I also ask them about the layout, what the medium is going to be, all sorts of these questions, because otherwise I can't make a good estimate on what the amount of time I'm gonna use, or my pricing, my fees. But when I do get a project, and also my own projects, of course, because it's different the way these things work, because with my own projects I can set my own time, and when I get bored or frustrated, I just put it aside and work on it later, or even not. But I'm going to show you something about that now. Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm nothing compared to for instance Giorgia Lupi or Stefania Posavec, or I don't know about you, Tiziana, or your sketches are probably way more sophisticated than mine, because this is how I start a project, and it's all messy, it's everywhere. I don't have dedicated sketchbooks or something like that. I draw everywhere, and I'm just looking for how do things compare or relate to each other. And like I said, I like experimenting, but I also just start with how does a bar graph suit this this project. And then, like I said, I go to Excel or bar graphs, and I just put in the data and see what it brings me, and then I export that to Illustrator, and then I try to what you see on the right. I try to mix things up and reshape stuff, and try to get it all in the layout that they would like to see. And what I also always do is look up for inspiration, and I have this large Pinterest board stuff, and I look into what I already have, but yeah, like Instagram or Behance, I look everywhere to see what things inspire me. And like this images that you see now, that is what I used for my View in Despair, for example. So yeah, I collect them, and I create this dedicated Pinterest boards, or I just save them to my own folders. And like you see, I really like looking at different stuff. So not just data viz itself, but art and spatial things, architecture, things like that. And yeah, I also look at what color combinations fit the subject. Like this one, I don't know if you already see it, but this is what I did for the New Hampshire, the Hotel New Hampshire project that I created. What you see up there is the book itself. Hotel New Hampshire is a book by John Irving, and this is a project I did for myself. I tried to code this book by counting the amount of times that someone came up. So like all the characters that were in the book, and I counted how many times they spoke. And then I started sketching. I always had this idea that I wanted to not just put data, but more art, more arty way of visualizing the data. And here you see what I try to do with color, or yeah, when I don't have the exact idea on what colors yet, I use other inspiration to put in, and I just use that. And this is what eventually it looks like. So yeah, I that's also my advice to everyone. Don't just look at what's there in DataVis, but look everywhere. Like I always showed with my mushrooms passion. It's just not just this that I do. So yeah, that's what I do with my own projects. And yeah, that's what I also do with clientele projects as well. I look for inspiration, and I also show them what that it's just not just this thing that I throw in their faces. It's what I yeah, what I want to let them know that I'm not just coming up with something that I copy paste from elsewhere. Oh, I just wanted to show you something else. So, sorry, I went out too soon. Because like I showed the Bayreuther Festspiele, that's also something I get very anxious when I'm showing my ideas to the client. And this is what I came up with the family tree in the first place. So I was thinking chronologically and not in the way that most family trees look like. And I got very enthusiastic, and I worked it all out. And the graphics editor was very enthusiastic. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I did a cool thing. But then the big people on top, they said, no one's gonna understand this. So I had to go back to this. It's still nice, but I would have preferred my own idea on showing this. So, well, yeah. Point to the
Personal.
client.
Yeah,
Get
you
your
need
idea.
to adapt, right? You need to
Sorry?
otherwise need to adapt to the client, I think, because it's kind of reach the common ground with
Yeah.
with them. It's always challenging.
Yeah.
And Tiziana, for you, do you have anything that you identify as a process that you always repeat when you're working in data?
I do, yeah. So I get very easily distracted usually. So I have a creative process which is kind of bulletproof, and it's my lifesaver, and it works a little bit like this. You can see this very quick GIF that shows a lot of things. And by the way, Sonja, your sketches are amazing. Mine are completely a disaster, but that's fine, because I always say that you don't need to do, you don't need to be an artist just to make understanding of your thinking flow. So this is what translates a little bit my creative process, which is made of a couple of steps, but most of the work that I do, the 80% of the work that I do is research and sketching. And the design part, so adding bells and whistles and all the cool fonts and colors, it takes only, the 20% of the entire project, because especially when you do data visualization, you have to work a lot with the materials that you have, so with the data that you have, and it's a constant battle against clarity and also elegance in some way. So a lot of sketches and a lot of research. But I work a lot with analogies as well, with visual analogies. This was a post that I made a while ago, where I was comparing the inspiration and then the final work that I was doing. So this is from the GIF that I showed you before, and it looks like a palm leaves, or otherwise I use architecture as inspiration. Or this is a visualization that I've done in 2014 about antibiotics resistant race, so bacteria and germs. And so I used the metaphor of a petri dish to create the visualization, so it could look relatable to the audience. And otherwise, my background in industrial design, so I use furniture and design objects as inspiration. So the design process, it's absolutely something that I'm a big advocate of. I'm also teaching data visualization in 2 universities in London, and I spend probably every day or every lesson say, oh, think about the design process, where you are with the design process, just like a broken record. But I believe that that's very, very, very important. And there isn't a standard design process. Everyone has its own. You can create one, you can use the one that someone else uses, you can tweak it a little bit and adapt it to your own design practice. But I guess it's very important. My recommendation is always have a series of steps that help you to achieve your outcome. It's a little bit like making a data visualization is a bit like preparing a meal. And to prepare a meal, you follow steps of a recipe. So in some way, it's the same thing. So you gather your ingredients and you decide which order these ingredients goes, and you test it, just tasting them, and add a pinch of salt, and that's it. The meal is ready. So it's pretty much the same thing with data visualization, told in a very simplistic way. Then the reality is much more bitter than this. But
It's so interesting. I would
well,
like
cooking also, right?
yeah, cooking also.
You mentioned about a bulletproof concept. Do you have like really a set structure in place and you fill it in, or is it not that set in stone?
I say that because it's the same. Well, it's a creative process that I use with my clients, and so far, touch wood, always work. And I share the design process with them as well, so they know what is going to happen, especially when we have a very tight turnaround and say, okay, listen to me. Now we're gonna do these 4 steps, and we're gonna process in this way. And especially because being a freelance designer, for me, it's very important to have a sign off at the end of each phase or stage. So I know that I can use my time mindfully and without going back and forth, because sometimes happens that your client, you almost, at the end of the project, and say, no, let's change the data. No, that's gonna change everything. So yeah, protect our time. It's very important as protecting the client's time and budget.
Yeah, oh, really interesting. Love to know more about it, and the way that you have it on paper, and Sonja, that you show the physical things. It's so much more than being in your little box in your computer, getting data from one place to another, but it's like getting inspiration everywhere, and that you have something physical. It's truly really inspiring, and I would like to have you over for a dinner, that you tell me everything, both of you, and then I know all the secrets and how to do it and be even more creative, because it's super cool and really inspiring. So yeah. So that's
Thank you.
what I want to share. Maybe Rachel, you want to take over?
Yeah, well, we need to finish what is said, because it's already 5 o'clock. I'd like to thank a lot Sonja and Tiziana. I think that it was wonderful. We have some questions coming up about digital tools that you usually use, but I think that if you could send us after, we can send by email together with the records and then the website of each one of you, because we share it here in the chat. But I think that it's good for everyone, because they kind of loved your work, loved your Instagram, Tiziana.
Oh,
They're all clicking in everything is to the TERP, also asking for Tiziana's website. So we'll send the links for everyone. And would like to thank the speakers, thanks the participants, the attendees. It was super nice to have you all. And yeah, we'll send a follow-up email with all the links and the records. And thanks, Maurice, for co-hosting with me. So thanks, everyone. And have a nice Friday evening.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And bye, Sonja.
Bye-bye.
It was nice to chat with you virtually. I hope we can see us again soon,
in person. Yeah.
2022 is coming, people. Everything will be solved, we hope.
Hopefully.
So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Well, thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.